Like the intro to Kingdom Hearts, I've been having these weird thoughts lately. I'm sure between the height of a new year and coming to terms with recent events in the United States, my brain has just been trying to make sense of the gray area we exist in. Specifically, I've been thinking about life, our roles in the grand scheme of the universe, and what it means to be good. My brain keeps zooming out in the third person. I'm aware I'm a person, in a room, in a house, in a community, in a state, in a country, on a planet, in the universe. Anyone else think like this? Finding one's own meaning of good should be simple, but for me, it's anything but that. Picture this. It's one of the 5 days of the week that ends in the letter Y, and remote work is dead, which means you're in the office. The fluorescent lights overhead are buzzing and emitting a glow that all humans naturally crave. The carpet is gray and offers zero support for your feet. The walls are some version of white or beige, and they lack any color, except for an occasional Word document notice posted about some HR thing. It's a long and straight corridor to get to the break room where the coffee machine lives. As you begin to walk, someone down at the other end turns the corner and is making their way for your direction. It's just the two of you. In a building full of other people going about their business, you and one other person chose the same time to traverse the same hallway, but for different purposes. As each step brings you closer together, neither party wants to acknowledge that the other one is there. Time slows down. Your heart begins to pump faster. There are only a few steps between you and them. You're about to cross paths, and robotic intuition kicks in. "Hi, how are you?" your coworker asks. "I'm good. How are you?" You instantly reply, as if on autopilot. "Good." The interaction is done. Each of you continue on the path you set out only moments ago, and your day continues as if no interaction actually took place, because you know that this same thing will happen at least 10 more times today. Even if you haven't had the luxury of working in an American corporate office, chances are you've had some version of this interaction. As you pass by someone who could be classified as a loose acquaintance, this version of small talk kicks in. Even if you're having the worst day of your life, you're not actually going to share that information. It's so much easier just to say, "I'm good," and then move on. And there's a pretty good chance neither party actually wants to know how the other is doing. Until we want to truly share our feelings, we're all just in some constant state of good. And I'm not here to argue about how grammatically correct it is to be good instead of saying I'm doing well. My hope is that you get the point. So how do I plan to define good? For me, it encompasses a few things. 1, do the right thing when no one is watching. 2, having the emotional intelligence to know that our actions impact the world around us. As in, people around us aren't just NPCs, and actions have consequences. 3, use what we learn through life experiences to be comfortable with who we are as individuals. These points add some variability to what it means to be good. Who's to say what the right thing is? Is good a state of mind or a state of being? How do we gain emotional intelligence? And I'll be honest, I'm still working on becoming comfortable with myself. I don't have all the answers. How do we each come to our own definition of good in the context of our lives? I believe that it's through a combination of things. The life you've lived, the content you've consumed, what you surround yourself with, and putting the golden rule into practice the best you can. There are over 8 billion people on this planet. That's not to account for the lives of people who existed before us, let alone all the other life forms this planet has had. Without getting too existential, it's safe to assume that you only have one life to live, and no one but you gets to live it. Your view of the world is special because only you get to live it. There are factors you cannot control, such as the family you're born into, where you're born, and when. And even within this, there are so many other things to consider. What does your nuclear family look like? What rules of life have you been indoctrinated into based on the country you live in? Does your family follow a religion? And if so, how strict are they? What are the viewpoints of those around you that will impact your viewpoints without you even knowing it? When you're a kid, you don't know that the world you experience isn't the same for everyone. Who you are right now is the sum of all your life experiences before this moment. There's a Reddit post from well over a decade ago that I reference on days when I'm feeling down. I highly recommend that you read it. It talks about the idea of being grateful for the 3 yous: past you, present you, and future you. You want to be grateful for past you for setting up present you for the life that you have, and present you should give presents to the future you for continued success. In this moment, if present you isn't thrilled with what past you has done, then you can take the first step in setting up future you on the path you want to be. Yeah, I've said things in Halo 3 lobbies that I'm not proud of. I get road rage and swear at other drivers. I've blocked people after social and political arguments online. The list goes on. I'm not perfect, but I don't claim to be. It wasn't until I was in college when I realized that life isn't black and white. At that point, for the first time in my 18 years of life, I began to reflect on who I was. This quieted itself in my early 20s and then slowly made its way back into my thoughts in my late 20s, where I find myself writing this today. I'm almost 30. I actually hate the word content as it exists in our modern day vocabulary. To me, it conjures up your self-absorbed influencer who's just trying to shill some piece of garbage from Amazon. Maybe I should call this section, You Are What You Eat. Since I'm not a dietitian, I hope my math here is correct. If you eat fruits and vegetables, you'll reap the benefits of their nutrients. If you drink Mountain Dew all day while crushing bags of Doritos, then you'll probably just be cooler than I ever will be. They say you're supposed to eat the rainbow, meaning eat a variety of fruits and veggies. I think we can apply a similar logic to what we voluntarily take in the world around us. The actual people in your life will play a role in your thoughts, feelings, and opinions on the world around you. Think of the media and information you take in on a regular basis. Music, movies, TV shows, books, social media, news channels, podcasts. Some are artistic expression, while others may be the product of capitalistic pigs trying to push an agenda. The mass media doesn't tell us how to think, but rather what to think about. Consider your social feeds or the last thing cable news shouted angrily at your grandparents. These channels and platforms are businesses. Businesses exist to make money. They make more money by selling ads. They sell more ads by holding your attention longer. They hold your attention longer by being bottomless pits. But most importantly, these channels control what gets the most attention, and therefore, we think it's the most important thing. And since every social media algorithm is using some form of AI to feed you the content it thinks you'll engage with the most, we all often end up in our own echo chambers. This is why my YouTube recommendations are Kitchen Nightmares and Hell's Kitchen compilations.
Chappie took a crappie in my gumbo.
We have these rectangular supercomputers in our pockets that can do so many things. These things aren't inherently bad, but they can lead us down dark places if we're not careful. It's going to be hard, but try to get multiple viewpoints on things. Be aware when you end up in an echo chamber, and know it's okay to turn off the TV, computer, or smartphone. Speaking of content, here are some books I've read over the years that have helped me come to terms with myself as a person and get through some really tough bouts of anxiety. The Courage to Be Disliked, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F***, and Existentialism, The Disciplined Pursuit of Less. Lastly, following the golden rule, treat others the way you want to be treated. Or, to shorten it, don't be a dick. It's as simple as that. Well, it should be that simple. I've definitely lost sight of this starting around the time of the 2016 election in the United States. I didn't know how to process seeing my loved ones, the people who I looked up to, being okay with the state of the world at that time. And things have just gotten worse since then. I needed to have the last laugh. I needed to outsmart these people. I needed to outdo them. Because I lost sight of the golden rule, I became the worst of what I saw in others. When something bad happens to you, all you can think of is getting revenge or getting the last laugh. It's an addictive, egotistical feeling that is important to recognize before things get out of hand. And guess what? You can step away from that argument, but not in a way where you say out loud, I'm being the bigger person, because that, in fact, does not make you the bigger person. In an essay about finding a definition about being good, I don't know what to do with the classification of people as like your racist grandfather who knowingly says terrible things, but will hide behind the idea of like, I'm old, I can say it. I guess there's complete ignorance, and maybe if we all really are treating others the way we want to be treated, then these people just want to be treated in a way that isn't kind. Anyway, some version of the golden rule has existed throughout history, so read the Wikipedia page if you're bored. One of my takeaways from The Courage to Be Disliked is the idea that to live a happy life, you need to be able to accept yourself and accept others. You can only be responsible for yourself, and it's not your job to control someone else. To me, if I can come to accept myself, then I should come to accept others. There's a lot of bad things in the world that happen every day, and there's a lot of atrocities that the person writing this script will never understand. I don't think saying treat others the way you want to be treated is a cop-out at all. If anything, it plays perfectly into the idea that you can only be responsible for yourself. Maybe the next time I think things seem bleak, I'll just come back to this section. Was this too existential? Did anyone even make it this far? Maybe there was a better recommended video somewhere. I think we can find our meaning of good through our life experiences, the content we consume, and following the golden rule. With a topic like this, there really isn't a right or wrong conclusion to make. I have to be aware that someone can have the complete opposite viewpoint as to what I'm presenting here. Just please don't be mean to me about it. I started writing this in November 2024 based on our annual 4-year cycle in the United States, and at the time of recording the voiceover, it is after January 20th, 2025. I could really feel the anger and frustration in the first few drafts of this essay, and I did make edits to the script to kind of pull back on that. I feel like an underqualified imposter writing this all down. I've gone back and forth so much during the writing process as to whether or not I have the authority to even share these thoughts. Even though I'm posting this on a public forum, this is really an exercise for me to express my thoughts and feelings. What right do I have to tell other people about how to be good? Am I even a good person? Only time and my actions will tell. Maybe next time I'm walking down the hall at work, I'll remember this and try to think of something else to say other than I'm good.